Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, Mr. Rush. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Right that time. Okay, 1 more minute. Good morning. Welcome to our special board meeting on September 15th, 2021. Please be advised that the Board of Trustees are participating in the special board meeting September 15th, 2021 in person and with teleconferencing. The meeting is being recorded and all actions will be taken by a roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via Antelope Valley Union High School District YouTube channel. As a reminder, during special board meetings, the public may submit comments only for items listed on the agenda. If participating remotely, you will be permitted to share your comment by phone. You will be placed on hold until it is their time to provide their comment to the board. Once the speaker is done or the 3-minute speaker, is done or the 3-minute speaker and or 20-minute agenda item time allotment is met, they will be disconnected from the call. Speakers may continue to observe the meeting on the YouTube channel. If you wish to make a comment in person, you will need to wear a face covering, complete a speaker card, and give it to staff or the board secretary. In-person comments will go first. Submissions must comply with a 3-minute time limit. A total time for public input on each agenda item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Comments received shall become part of the official record. I would like to ask board members to respond to the following question as I call your name. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end? And Mr. Martinez is in school today, not with us, so he is absent. Ms. Perrell?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Wynn?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Yes. And Ms. McGrady is a yes. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you. Do we have any comments from the floor? No comments. Okay, thank you. We'll move right on. This morning, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the superintendent position description as presented. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Perrell, a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Wynn, thank you. Okay, and discussion?
Yeah. I had some discussion, Mrs. McGrady, when we're ready.
Sure. I was just going to say, just if you will, let me just give a comment or two here before we get started. As we've said before, this is one of the most important things that we will be doing as board members is choosing a new superintendent. So we want to give a little bit of time and effort, and that's why we're here today. Leadership Associates did put out surveys and they compiled information to come up with this document, and that's what we are looking to approve or add to or take away this morning. So Dr. Ruffin.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I concur that this is indeed the board's most important and most sacred job with selecting who will be the next superintendent for the Antelope Valley Union High School District. I had several questions. I don't know if we're going to go through it or I can just start opening up this discussion. When I went through and I looked at, I'm on page 1 of the superintendent, the position, and I have to say I'm not really welcoming that it doesn't have any language in here that I see about diversity, inclusion. There's no mention of our demographics. I think that that's very important for somebody coming to the Antelope Valley, that they understand the demographics of the students in this community is 80% minoritized, and it needs to be stated somewhere. That's my opinion. I'm also looking at, I don't know at what point our board, as board members, created a mission or a vision. It seems very weak, the vision in here. I would like to see something that is talking about preparing our leaders to achieve academic success, where their high school experience offers equitable learning opportunities and outcomes to improve their future endeavors. I also think that it's a misnomer and it's very inconsistent in the ways in which the communities are displayed here. It initially is that the Antelope Valley Union High School District is situated in Lancaster, but in all actuality, it's Lancaster, Palmdale. We have 8 high schools in Palmdale, the city of Palmdale. I don't think that that's a true depiction of our community. I don't know if we could add a map of the area, something that would also show that it's a community that has 5 different divisions where our board members are elected, to show that there is a sense of diversity of the different parts of the area. And that was on page 2. It says the Antelope Valley Union High School District is in the city of Lancaster. The office is in the city of Lancaster, but we serve a larger, greater community span. I also wanted to mention that I noticed that SOAR was the only high school that was specifically mentioned by name. Is that a reason why? I mean, other school districts have an early college high school, so I'm not sure why we had to mention SOAR, if there's an elevation there, but I would like either it not to be mentioned or all of the schools to be mentioned. I'm on page 3. It also says in a second paragraph on page 3, I mean, this is an educational environment. I don't know why we need to say to somebody that we have from steakhouses to wine bars and tea rooms. I don't know why a wine bar is important to be mentioned for an educator. I'm also interested in understanding, I know that this is the description, and maybe I'll talk about this in my board comment areas, but I don't really see a lot of language in here that talks about an individual being an equity warrior or somebody who is non-traditional. This seems like it's kind of cookie cutter. I did take the time out to speak with other superintendents, other people who've gone through this process before. I've researched other school districts that have different descriptions of professional profiles. We know that LA Unified, the second largest school district in the nation, has selected superintendents who were not traditional, and they did a fabulous job. I'm looking for this job description to really display somebody who cares about minoritized youth and students that reflect this community. I'll just stop right there.
Thank you. I'll address like the mission statement. The leadership associates did not come up with that. We did. We typically do that in January when we meet and have our governancing meeting, which we haven't done in a few years. If you'll remember, we were not able to meet for the last couple of Januaries. So, but we usually review it and add to it and fix it in any way possible. But this board has not been able to do that for several years. The one that's listed here is the last time the board was able to do that before now. So that is what is on, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Van Hoosen, but I believe that's what is on our website. And that's what so that's what that piece is. I believe that on all of these things that the profile was put together by what the leadership associates was able to glean from the surveys that were put out. So if there's something specific you would like to add to one of these, we could discuss that. If we're talking just generalities, we can go and see if anybody else has something else that they're looking at. Mr. Rush, do you have anything?
No, I'm
Okay.
happy with the way it is. I could vote on it right now. I do agree with the one part that Dr. Ruffin said, that it does say that it serves in the city. It should say the district offices in Lancaster, but other than that, I think it's pretty good. I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Ms. Perrell, do you have any comments that you would like to make?
No, I don't at this time.
So, Ms. McGrady, I would like to add, you said specific areas under professional profile, has experience working in a comparable school district with similar demographics. I think that needs to be spelled out. I would like to see somebody who has experience working with diverse groups in equity-centered individual. And I'm quite sure, Doctors Van Leuven and Dr. Verdugo are astute enough to be able to incorporate some of that language in here. I'm not really sure what it means when it says, is a decisive educational leader who has experience effectively collaborating with community leaders and other stakeholders by clearly communicating district objectives and goals. I know when I looked at the survey or that process that we have, I didn't really see anything that gave us room for community listen sessions or focus groups or street teams or anything of that nature. So I'm just trying, I know it says at the top that the board welcomes a diverse group of candidates and that we have an opportunity to go on second page, the board members reserve the right to visit the district and communities of the candidate prior to a final decision. But I would like for this description to include somebody of equity. I mean, this is 2021. We are within the county of Los Angeles, which our board of supervisors adopted equity mindset last June. And we're still in LA County, and what we're presenting doesn't reflect that narrative.
So let me just, if I could jump in, if we, because we want to try to fix this today. So when we leave here today, we vote on it and we can go ahead and get that on so we can kind of hit our timelines. If we did like a little something, it's going to, if you look at the second bullet, has experience working in a comparable school district with similar demographics. If we did a little sub bullet under that, experience working with diverse groups and equity-centered groups, would that work for you? And
absolutely, absolutely, Ms. McGrady. Yes.
Is that a possibility that we could put that is again the preferred, again with the preferred, not so that we just put that right underneath that similar demographics? Is that a possibility we could fix that?
I would like that. I think if we all would have to agree, or three would have to agree.
Absolutely. I'm just checking to see if that's a possibility that we could add that in as a sub bullet underneath there. Do you think that would work? And
Are you asking me, Ms.
No,
McGrady?
You said yes already. I was asking Dr. Van Hoosen.
Okay.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, we can do whatever you need to do.
Okay.
And equity is in there, but I agree, if there's a desire to have more of it in there, that's cool too. The other part of it was that we lifted everything about the district and the community from the district webpage. So that's important, that as you're talking about things, this is the stuff that's out there already. And if we need to amend something, we certainly can. But that's where this came from. We didn't just make this up. This is what the community's been getting. So
Yes, I agree with you, Dr. Van Leuven.
you can call me Fred. We're all good here. Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. So I agree with that. And I think that that's why we need to illuminate it here, because these are things that they can just go to the website and get. But I believe that it's beneficial for us to bring it front and center, so that whoever's interested, we can get the best candidate from the first go around. Why would we just duplicate something that's on a website when we have an opportunity to go to give some depth and breadth to the community? I mean, it's an amazing community to live in. I've been here for over 20 years, and I think it needs to be reflected. Whoever gets this seat, they need to know the type of students and the challenges and the accomplishments that we'll get from this community. So thank you.
Yep.
And I think we could probably fix this on our website at the same time. That's an easy fix by just simply adding the district office is in the city of Lancaster. We just add that one word in, and that fixes that piece of it. But I believe Wynn was getting ready to say something as well. So, well, first let me go back and see if we have a consensus on adding the bullet about the working with diverse groups. It's preferred that we work, has shown in the experience of working with diverse groups and equity centered.
No, let's do it this way. Let's vote on it the way that it is. And then if it passes, it passes. If not, then we can adjust it to make it, but I'm perfectly fine voting on it the way that it is right now.
Okay, well, before we do that, then let's let Ms. Wynn have she hasn't had an opportunity to speak yet. So we've cut her off twice. So Ms. Wynn.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm impressed with the profile. It's rather lengthy. In another life, I worked in the human resources department of large corporations. I appreciate all the work that you've put into this. In the description of the Antelope Valley, and these are just really minor things. I am on the board for the Los Angeles County Air Show, and there's not going to be an air show this year. And there may not be an air show in the future either. So I don't know if you want to include that on there. We do have a fair. I'm on the board for the Antelope Valley Fair board as well. And that will be happening this year, and hopefully that will be happening for many years to come. So I don't know if you want to take out air show, put in fair board. We also have a local first robotics competition. Didn't happen last year because of the pandemic, but it will be happening this school year. And it's a pretty big event, and governors, people from all over Southern California. I happen to be on that board as well, but you might want to include that. Otherwise, thank you very much for the work that you've done. I appreciate it.
Okay, it seems to me that we have a couple of things. So it has been suggested that we vote on it as is, and then if that does not pass, then we'll go back and start making adjustments. So,
Ms. McGrady, can we vote on the first motion that was out there, which came from me to make the adjustments, and then vote second on the one that Mr. Rush suggested in that order?
That isn't a motion. They were both suggestions. You didn't make
Okay, well, I would like to move that we add the language that you suggested. And I know that it has to be a consensus for that.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
I think we have to vote on something Where's Jay?
He's not with us this morning.
Okay. I think we have a motion to put this up, to make a vote on this. So let's take a vote on it. If it doesn't pass, then we'll amend it. That's it. That's where we're at with this now.
Well, okay, so we had the motion to get it on the floor for the discussion. So, I'm
Well,
sorry.
we can't just arbitrarily start changing this thing. And then we got to bring it back for another vote, right?
That's why we have Robert's Rules of Orders, and that's why we're at the point of having a discussion.
I got you.
And that's the
Okay, let's
process.
vote on this, okay? Let's vote on what we have, see if it passes.
Well, we could do a consensus without taking so let's just get a consensus without actually taking a formal motion, second, and vote. Let's just get a consensus if we would like to make some changes before we vote. And we'll go in the same order that we normally go in. We're asking for a consensus. Okay. The consensus would be to first, let me try to think a minute. I'm sorry. So we probably should get a consensus on voting as is, or to make the changes. The consensus to make the changes before we take the vote. Does everybody understand what we're talking about? We're going to ask for a consensus to make some changes before we take the vote. Ms. Farrell, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Agree to make changes?
Yes.
And I'm making a note of this. Hang on just a second. Dr. Ruffin, do you agree or disagree to make changes?
I agree to make changes before we
Okay.
make a vote.
And Ms. Nguyen, you are usually next. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Agree. Mr. Rush?
No.
No. Okay. And McGrady, I'm going to agree. So we will make some changes. So we are talking about, let's do them in order. The way I recall them, the first one was, let me get back to that. Possibly doing a bullet under the second bullet. And this would be like a little sub under that bullet where it says has experience working in a comparable school district with similar demographics. This is just simply explaining that a little more clearly working with diverse groups and equity-centered groups. Okay, anyone have, okay, so let me put working.
Ms. McGrady, I like the way that you just went through and asked us all. Do you want to go through again and ask us all if we agree with that language so we can move to the next thing?
Okay, so that's, yes.
I don't think you need to do that. I think you could just make the changes you want and then ask for a vote. You don't need to ask for every individual change.
Okay, all right. So that's.
Mr. Rush, I was directed that question to Ms. McGrady, and I'm just saying it for transparency. I think that it gives clear transparency on the things that want to be changed and those that don't, because there are a few things on the floor. And there may be some components that people don't want to change.
Okay, you know what, because we could argue this for quite a while. Let's just go ahead and take a consensus on this. So Fred, what we're looking at is underneath that second bullet, if this passes, adding, hang on just a second, that it's preferred that this individual's work with diverse groups and equity-centered groups. Okay, so Ms. Perrell, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Dr. Ruff, that was a yes. Dr. Ruffin, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Agree. Dr. Ruffin, Ms. Nguyen? Ms. Nguyen agrees. Mr. Rush? Mr. Rush, do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Okay, and disagree, and McGrady agrees, so that's 4-1. Well, I said agree, so it's, but it passes with consensus. So the next thing that I recall would be to the, hang on one second, let me find the page, that it was to change the district office, and this is on the third page. The Antelope Valley Union High School district office is in the city of Lancaster. And anyone that wants to look up our area, they will. I don't know that we have to go through a lot more. My concern is if we get it too long, people will just kind of start breezing over. But that does clarify that the office is in Lancaster and they can look it up and check our office. Let's do, so we're looking at the page 3, the first sentence under the district. The Antelope Valley Union High School district office is in the city of Lancaster, California. So the only thing we're adding is the district office. So Ms. Perrell, do you agree?
Ms. McGrady?
Yes,
just a
yes, I
point
do.
Sorry.
Sorry, just a point of clarification. Are you on page, that was on page 2 under the district?
I said 3, I said it's page 2. It is page 2.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
just making sure.
I'll look down,
No
so,
worries.
but you're absolutely right, it is page 2, and it's the first sentence under the district. So does everybody understand where we are? We're talking about the Antelope Valley Union High School district office is in the center of Lancaster, California. So the only thing we're changing is we're adding office. Okay, Ms. Perrell, do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Dr. Ruffin, do you agree?
Yes.
Ms. Nguyen, do you, that was a yes. Ms. Nguyen, do you agree?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Rush, do you agree?
You got your consensus now, so go ahead. Move forward.
I didn't.
You have your consensus. You got 3 yeses.
Okay. Okay. So, and I agree. So that it passes. We have a consensus. Okay. So the next thing, I would not want to personally, I mean, we can discuss this, but I don't believe the air show's completely been canceled forever. It's just been canceled for this year. So, I mean, it's kind of the same way that you're saying no?
You know what, we can just, you just take a look at the demographics, so maybe we need to change it on the website. I for me personally, hate to mislead people, but
Well, the fair we're having is not the real fair either. So I mean, it's kind of like, it's because of the pandemic. But I think people are going to understand that because of the pandemic, we have different things than we sometimes do.
many activities in the valley.
I agree with you, Ms. McGrady, that the air show is a component of our community that really is reflective about the climate and the culture here. And I think we should keep it. I think in the future, I mean, we don't know what the future holds, but I think it has been something that's very reflective in all of our schools and in fact, some of our middle schools too.
Well, if I recall, before we actually had the official air show, they did do an air show at Edwards Air Force Base where the public was invited. So even if we do away with the air show as we've known it the last few years, my hope would be they would go back to that people who are, that could be a draw for them. It might still be a draw for them, you know?
I'm not on that board, on the Edwards Air Show.
Okay.
I don't know what their plans are.
So was there anything else that anyone wanted to have changed? You wanted to add the information about the robotics?
Well, that is school centered and student centered, and students actually drive that.
Okay, so do you have something written that we could actually tell them exactly what we want it to read? Because we need to have whatever it is where we can vote on it. When we vote on it, well, so when we leave here in just a little bit, we're finished. That they can take it from right there, make those corrections, and put it on the advertisement. That's our goal here today. So we don't want to go back and come back. We want to try to fix it. So if you can write something up real quick of exactly how you want it to read, what you want it to say.
It's the event is a first robotics competition for Aerospace Valley. That's its official title.
First robotics competition for high school students. Held in the Antelope Valley.
Aerospace Valley is what that particular competition is titled.
In the Aerospace Valley?
Aerospace Valley. I know.
But
that's what
not
it is.
us. I know, but
That is in aerospace, apparently. I mean, even the air show wanted to change their name to Aerospace Valley from Antelope Valley.
so how about if we put first robotics competition for high school students, both nationally and internationally, because we had students from international schools, both nationally and internationally.
Just look like the rest.
Internationally held in the Antelope Valley.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, so did you get all that? So I've got a first robotics competition for high school students, both nationally and internationally, held in the Antelope Valley, happens every year. Happens in April.
And first is, each letter is capitalized. And it's first is the organization, the international organization that hosts these competitions.
Occurs, how about each spring? So we're not held till a month. Okay, is that something we can add? Do you have enough wording on that?
I'm minorly lost in this conversation, to be honest with you. I'm not sure where it's going, and I kind of got lost at the end
Okay,
because I heard a name of something, and I'm not sure what it is.
I will write it. I'll repeat it, make sure I have what we're agreeing to, and then I will send it to you in writing. How's that?
Okay, and you're going to say where you want it to, where it
Yes.
gets placed?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Go probably board, because I don't want to be making decisions for you, but I would think that would go right under these are all like community things, and this is a school, so I don't know, because
I think it's page 3, Ms. McGrady.
be on page 3.
Page 3, probably either paragraph 1 or 2.
But that's about hospitals, healthcare. The second one is about things that
Residents can enjoy a variety of retail shopping, the Antelope Valley Mall, but I think at the top, or if you have to, when they talk, the third paragraph talks about the Alfalfa Festival showcase livestock exhibits. I think it could fit somewhere in there. The area features dozens of, or maybe we may want to have another paragraph. Well, I don't know if we need another paragraph, but just something to say exactly what you guys are mentioning, but highlight the, the gifts of the students, our students that come out, or our students that are experiencing the Antelope Valley Union High School District, contribute to robotics or engage in something of that nature.
Well, and just as we're talking about this, my concern is that we have programs at every high school. So why are we not talking about the one in High that goes to Australia? Why are we not talking about the one in Palmdale that wins nationally every year? So I'm not
I
sure.
agree, but if the robotics is important for Ms. Wynn,
I'm not sure that we need to go there, because if they check into our school, they're going to find out at every site that we have things. So I'm not sure because if we pull one up, then all of a sudden, well, then why are we not saying about each of the others? And then that's going to make it be about a 25-page document.
That's all right. We can just eliminate it.
Okay. So then does anyone have anything else that you would like to
the
fix?
last part about the wine bars on paragraph page 3, I don't know why we need to say 2 wine bars.
Okay, I think there's a variety, and I'm assuming
Well, there it is, yeah.
so that's on page 3, the second paragraph, the last sentence. Let's just mark, well, we need to take a consensus, but we'll ask everybody. But the idea would be from steakhouses to tea rooms. How's that? Is that fine with everybody? Oh, we'll do a consensus one by one. But do you want anything instead, or just take it from steakhouses to tea rooms? That kind of covers everything in between. Okay. All right. So we're taking out 2 wine bars. So if you agree, Ms. Perrell?
I agree.
Okay, Dr. Ruffin?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, Ms. Wynn?
No.
No? Mr.
No.
I kind of think we need to leave it in too, so we'll leave that in, okay? All right.
At the Economic Outlook Conference, the gentleman that was there specifically indicated that things like that attract people to our area, whether you appreciate it or not, that it does seem to attract people to our area. And he encouraged the entire Antelope Valley to invest more into that type of entertainment, I guess.
Okay.
And I want to also mention that we also had an educator in Eastside High School, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, who was drunk and killed several people with alcoholism. So I don't know if that's the right messaging you want to be putting out there.
That was not high school. That was not high school.
It
That
wasn't.
wasn't from us.
No.
And
Yeah, it
Anybody else have anything they would like to change?
wasn't from us, but it was an educator in our community.
But not from our high school. It was not from Eastside High School.
No, I didn't say that. I said from the Eastside Elementary School District, and it
No.
happened on the East Side. Clarification, but I'm just saying it's not something that I would want to promote.
Okay. Anyone else have something that you would like to change before we call for the vote? Okay, hearing none, we have first and a second. Ms. Perrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
I,
Aye. Mr. Rush?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. So it passes 4-1.
Miss McGrady, I misunderstood the question. I'm sorry. Can you retract my vote to no? I totally spaced out on the question. I'm sorry about that.
You're voting no on the profile. We're voting on the
Yeah,
profile.
I'm voting no. I meant to say no, but I said yes.
You're voting no. You're voting no on the profile. Okay.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So it passes at 3-2. So we have 2 noes. Ms. Perrell, Dr. Ruffin both voted no on the profile, and we have 3 yeses, Ms. Nguyen, Mr. Rush, Ms. McGrady. So it passes. So from the board, Ms. Perrell, do you have anything you'd like to share today?
No.
Dr. Ruffin?
Absolutely. I'm really excited about us being in this process of selecting who the next superintendent will be for our district. I had an opportunity a few days ago. I read a narrative by Amanda Gorman that's called "Talking Gets Us There." I quote her by saying, she stated, "Across time and place, people have been treated unfairly just because of their race. So heroes get into good trouble. They have to struggle for a long time, but when they win, it's worth every mile." And I thought about that in my position on this board and the fact that we have an opportunity to win for the students in the Antelope Valley Union High School District, the 63% Hispanic students, the 14 to 16% Black students that make up this district. And then I read a little bit more of her poem when she said, "People of color still experience racism today. So it's up to us, all of us, to say enough is enough, to speak out with all our hearts." And that starts at home. That conversation starts at home. It starts with us asking questions about race when we're taught about it together. I know we can tackle racism, but first we have to talk about it. These are her statements. Some of it was a little bit ad-libbed. And when I thought about that, I'm thinking about this process and why is it important that we have somebody who is equity-centered, inclusive-centered. For 24 years, we had a different type of leadership. Now we have an opportunity to get someone that reflects and is capable and is courageous enough to handle these type of discussions. Over the past 20 years in the Antelope Valley, I've had my experiences with some of the same narratives. In 46 years of my life, I've experienced the impact of marginalization. I'm a byproduct of a public school education and a proud graduate of Crenshaw High School, which is a school densely in urban LA. And just because we're out in the Antelope Valley in the Palmdale, Lancaster area, about 30 minutes outside of LA proper, we are still considered a very dense community here. And it's a huge population of students, 23,000 students in this high school district that also deserve to have a champion who is fighting for them. Not the traditional status quo of members that don't reflect them, making huge decisions about their livelihood and their life trajectories. And that is what I see when I talk to other board members, when I talk to other community members. I'm talking to people all up and down the state of California about our practices and the systemic nature about the ways in which we do business. And I'm going to say, I chose human services profession because I was taught by educators and experienced the care firsthand. We have to have somebody who cares, who's open to listen, who's willing to talk about it. And I think Ms. McGrady mentioned that on this board, we haven't traditionally been able to do that. And you can see some of that playing itself out just from me making a comment today about inclusiveness and how it's downplayed and undervalued. But our kids deserve for us to have champions on this board, for us to have a superintendent who will come to this district, not try to silence them, discredit them, undervalue their worth and who they are as individuals, give them an opportunity to have a voice, to be included. And that is what I expect from our board. That's what I expect from members in our community. And that's what I expect from the next superintendent of this district. So that being said, I'm going to continue to manifest the zeal of justice, of educational justice, of social justice, all those things that drove me to be on this board and to advocate for people who have been marginalized in this community, for teachers who don't have a voice, for anybody who cannot speak up and have a say. And I appreciate the community reaching out to me. I got several calls this week about the incident that happened at Lancaster School District. And I know that our board had an opportunity just a few months ago to vote on that. We even paid what Dr. Vieira said, $25,000 to $30,000 for a group of educators to come. And they informed us, research-based scholars, what was best for our district. And we still made a decision contrary to that. So I'm asking that people step outside their biases, step outside their own personal agendas, to really look at the students in this district, to look at the families in this district, and hopefully put an educational scholar or a professional who's willing to have these courageous conversations and stand up always first for our students and families in this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyen.
Actually, my comments are probably directed towards you, Fred. As I mentioned, I've worked in human resources before, and was just wondering if there would be maybe an opportunity to go over the fact with board members to help us understand what we can and cannot do, what we should or should not do as far as this process as it progresses. And I've had a lot of people call and want to talk about either who they think, which I'm willing and more than happy to take those calls to listen. But I've also had calls from people who want the position. So I already know that that's touchy ground for anybody. So was wondering if there would be that possibility for an opportunity anyway for us to understand what we can and can't do.
I would be honored to have that conversation with you. So what is going to happen is that the candidates should not be having any.
Oh, no, that's actually perfect. If that were to happen this week, I'd be more than, I'm able to do it.
Okay, let me help you. If somebody comes and has a desire to have an application or do something about it, they should contact us, and there's a process where they can put the application in. They should not be, what you don't want to do is have everybody and their brother coming in and trying to sway you that they're the best candidate because you haven't gone through any process. And you may not even select the people who you're talking about when you're going to have quite a few people apply for this job. And so you'll have to make have an opportunity to have discussions about who you actually want to bring in. But if there are questions about it, that's, one of the things that is really good for us is we spent time with a lot of people through this, and we learned a lot of stuff about the district. And we have a survey. And so we've looked at all these things, and we listened. This board meeting was interesting for me too, because I got a chance to learn more. But what we're going to be doing is this thing hits EdCal on Monday, and we will have a whole bunch of people having comments and asking us and calling us. But that really isn't your function. If somebody were to,
Yes.
you should direct them to us, to David and me.
Yeah, I've done chaperone before. It was actually for my kids.
Ms. Perrell, you're not muted.
Okay, did I answer well enough?
Yes, I know that, you cannot call and ask how a person is and would you rehire this person? And I already know that it's all against the law.
So, yeah, so let me help you with that just a little bit. So what we're going to do is you're going to get a copy of all of the materials. We said this in the very beginning. You're going to see all the materials that come in, all the applications, all the backup stuff. We will have vetted them. What's really important is you realize this is a confidential process, and your function is not to call and do reference checks or call unions or call other people. They may or may not let anybody know that they've applied. And our function is to go out and vet them, and we will vet them in ways that you won't understand because we'll go deep into it. I guess one of the advantages when you've been around a long time, you know people, and I probably know people that they don't know that I know that knows them. Same with David. So the part your function is the confidential piece, and this is why you hired us, is we will get all the materials. All this stuff is coming to us. You will see them all. You'll get a chance when we sit down, and you'll get a chance to go over all the applications. You as a board will determine who you want to interview, and we'll help structure through that part of it. But in this meantime, you should just be directing, if somebody were to contact you, directing them to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
You also mentioned that this was supposed to be a time for us to get the results of the survey. Is that another meeting or what? When does that happen?
The results were sent.
You received them. You should have received them the same day we received these. The profile, it was the same day.
There were two separate emails.
Moving forward, Mr. Rush, do you have any comments today?
No, thank you.
Okay, I've just got to address a couple of things. I didn't intend to talk, but Dr. Ruffin, when you mentioned that I said traditionally we go over the mission statement, that wasn't exclusive, that we're not allowing you to participate in that. We do that usually in January when we have the governance session, and we have to have people who attend the meetings, and we haven't had that the last two Januaries. So that was the one item. The second item, you now mentioned twice that we spent $35,000 and then didn't follow the advice that we got. We absolutely did. 72% of our personnel said they wanted the chairs, and 75% of our parents said they wanted them. And then we voted to do that. So I just wanted to clarify that because that's misinformation that's going out. But anyway, thank you very much. Once again, I'd like to say that this is the most important thing that we're going to do as a board is choose our next superintendent. So we need to try to work together. We need to try to come together and come to the meetings, do the homework ahead of time, be prepared, and do the best job we can. So now I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Ms. Nguyen, we need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Any discussion? Ms. Perrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Ruffin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Nguyen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye, Mr. Rush.
Aye.
Aye, Ms. McGrady, aye. So we are adjourned 5-0. Thank you very much. We'll see you in October. Bye-bye.